What's up, Tom community? Welcome back to TVL. We're after a 1 week hiatus. I think we're now back from Singapore. Token 2049 was a blowout. What a crazy, crazy week of meetings and presentations and events for the week. Was crazy. We've actually got two guys with us today that were both there in Singapore, fresh off the boat back home, I guess. We've got Gamey chairman and chairman and co-founder Rosina Rizab with us today, who's actually her second time on TVL. So welcome back, Rosina. How you doing?
Thanks, great. Singapore was amazing. Like this
Yeah.
massive concentration of ideas, people, energy. It's like really overwhelming in a good way.
I like the strange mix between like Formula One fans and the crypto guys.
Yeah.
It got pretty crazy that last weekend.
Except for the hotel prices, otherwise it was good. Yeah.
True. Yeah, I was actually looking at flights over because I only booked my flight really late, but the flights over to Singapore that week were like $2,000 just for economy flight. Crazy. And then we've got my co-host, Luke Belmar. What's up, Luke? How you doing?
Hey, it's good to see you after a couple of days. We had a good time in Singapore together. It was a
For
great
sure.
time seeing a lot of community members, a lot of community leads, a lot of heads of projects just get together. It was a great vibe. Glad to be
Definitely,
back.
definitely. And you and I, we hosted our DGen meetup, the
It was a
first,
great time.
the second DGen meetup.
First one
How
in
did that go?
Singapore.
First one in Singapore.
It was a great time. I think also being able to cross-pollinate some of these communities and find synergies as well between these communities and realize that even though there's people building in different ecosystems, there are people looking at what other people are doing and trying to figure out how to get involved. We were talking with Rich from Core DAO and their desire to bring in Bitcoin staking over to the Ton network and the Ton ecosystem, which is really, really cool. So being able to talk about that. Also, we had Meow from Jupiter Exchange. We had Luca Nets from Pudgy Penguins, and a lot of different. We had Ian from Ton Ventures show up as well, and just really being able to share the stage with people that are pioneering different areas of the industry and just finding these synergies, but also simultaneously, Jack, finding the aligned mission and values with regards to how we want the space to progress. A lot of focus on decentralization, a lot of focus on allowing the community to participate, a lot of focus on decentralizing from individual key points or individual points of failure into kind of more broad perspective. So yeah, it was a great time. Super happy.
Yeah. Awesome. And Bazina, you joined as a guest there actually. So you were watching on. What did you think of the day? How did it go? How did it compare as well to some of the other events you went to, because it was a paid event, so it's a little bit more of a different crowd.
It was super interesting you had the round tables, right? And then you
Yeah.
would even encourage people to mix and to change the tables, which was really good. It was so many interesting people with so many great stories, background stories, even plans. So it was super, super good networking. I mean, the content, of course, was also good, the speeches and
On
everything.
point, as
But I
always.
think just the selection of people, it was not too many, and you encouraged people to change seats. That was really good, because on many of those side events, it was just way too many people, way too much noise. So even though you could meet super many interesting projects, you would always have a small talk and move on. Actually, at the DJ meetup, it was possible to go more deep.
Interesting.
That's great.
That's good feedback. Yeah, so it was cool how we had the I think Luke, you said it afterwards, but we had like you, who's like the king of like Web2 distribution with your keynote. And then we had Luca Netz, who's like the king of NFT distribution, owner of Pudgy Penguins, and then Ton, who's the king at the moment of Web3 distribution, right? So we had those talks lined up one after another.
Which if you begin to evaluate it, Jack, we begin to talk about like what projects actually need and what people actually need, and they need eyeballs, right? So our entire focus was pretty much priming people. And if you guys can go back to the Ton Society Twitter account and you guys can scroll down, you'll be able to see Jack's keynote. You'll be able to see my keynote as well, where we give you guys some details as to how to create an IP that can go viral with distribution, how to create a company that has distribution mechanisms, but also an underlining layer of your company, where to build upon, right? Which is a system that already has a distribution ecosystem, which in this case would be Telegram. So we talked about distribution from an engaged perspective, as in how you go to market. We talked about distribution when it comes to build around a product or an IP that has legs, and then finally build it on a network or an ecosystem that actually has the bandwidth to reach new users. So anybody that showed up really walked away with a masterclass on how to succeed above their competitors, not only on product placement, but on product distribution and on the network that they choose to utilize it on. So I think it was a very big value add across the board, regardless of where people are coming from. I saw a lot of people that had no idea about Ton really be like, hey, you know what? This may be a viable distribution channel for me. People not really familiar with really understanding they have a really good product, but they may not really understand that eyeballs is the key to get to the next level. That's why we're seeing so many of these tap to earn games exploding. And simultaneously, kind of all of these things put together, I think have made out to be was almost 200 entrepreneurs from different countries and different places around the world, followed up with a special VIP experience for the heads of a lot of these projects and a lot of these communities. So it was a great time.
Yep, it was awesome. It was the only event actually that I went to that people were actually there the whole day taking notes, like literally with their notepads out, like writing everything down that people were saying and really like they're keyed in, looking for the value. So fantastic event, and really like one of the first times Luke and I have got out in the real world together to do something cool together, which has been great. There'll be many, many more of those to come. We did a lot live TVL. We didn't call it though. It was the money talks, wasn't it? We did a live money talks.
But it was
for like
great.
2 hours.
It was a great time, and it was almost 2 hours. It was one of our longest sessions together. So we had Ian from Ton Ventures. We had Rich from Cordal. We had Jack obviously on stage as well, and then we had Chris from Toby, which is one of these projects that's building on top of the Telegram ecosystem as well. So also from the builder side, right? We even brought builders on stage and get that perspective as well from more of the brilliant side. But yeah, you guys are going to be seeing a lot more in-person experiences and a lot more in-person events. This is where a lot of these relationships get cemented, right? And that's something that I've wanted to kind of crystallize across the board to the entire crypto space overall, is the value that you're actually going to find in these in-person relationships. Like you actually start understanding what people are about, what they stand for, how the alpha, like we were sitting at dinner and we were just talking about different opportunities that we saw in the market, just like everybody like freely sharing. And these are things that take place once you have a community that really rallies behind a mission together and they want to see the other people in the community win. So just a lot of projects represented, a lot of ecosystems represented. And for the first premium side event that we've done, definitely an incredible turnaround considering, at the time of while Jack was talking, Raj from Solana was speaking at Breakpoint at the same time. So we were simultaneously competing with a lot of bandwidth for focus and attention. So as we optimize these experiences throughout the world, we'll make sure that we optimize on calendar as well. So we have maximum throughput of presence. But it was a great time.
Yeah. Bigger than Raj. That's my new hashtag. I'm going to put that on my bio. Okay, so that wasn't the only thing over the last week, which has been pretty crazy in the Ton ecosystem. We've had the Open League. It started. We had 1 week of it, but now it's paused, and it's paused for a very good reason. That is because this week, or just over the last week, 7 days really, we've had a number of airdrops. The number of airdrops is Hamster Combat, 100 million eligible users. Catizen, 9 million eligible users. WATBird, and we'll get into some of the numbers from our esteemed guest here, who can run us through it. And today we've just had Rocky Rabbit, which I'm still yet to get the numbers on, but it was 20 million monthly active users. So we don't know how many on-chain users have come from that yet, but we'll be seeing it very soon. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 massive airdrops just in the last week. So OpenLeague had to take a break. But Friday we had the Catizen airdrop. Initially, I think a lot of the community were upset about the allocation. That was a lot of the feedback. But then as the tide turned and the token price became evident, people's minds started to change and they started to get excited about Catizen airdrop again. Then on Monday this week, Ton Core team have actually launched mintless jetons. So this is all in a way to actually help these massive airdrops because they've grown to such a massive number of people. They actually have created this new way to mint tokens on chain that don't actually require an on-chain transaction, so they don't put a massive load on a network at that initial moment, which is pretty cool because as we've seen since Catizen airdrop and WATBird, I guess, is ongoing right now, we haven't actually had any blockchain issues, which is pretty incredible, right? Like the amount of people new people that are coming on chain, and no blockchain issues. So the scalability is there. It's starting to work. It's starting to be very, very powerful to onboard millions of users in single days. So I wanted to get into WATBird. There's obviously been a lot of hype about the gaming ecosystem and the WATBird airdrop. So the community has felt this massive anticipation. What exactly is going on with WATBird right now? Where are we at in terms of the airdrop? Can you hit us with some stats and some figures about what's happened so far?
Yeah, absolutely. So WATBird was on Monday, and it always feels like the TGE, the day is a start. But it's almost like you're in a sport, right? So you practice and you work really hard, and suddenly it looks like an overnight success. But there is like so much behind it. And then there is this one day everybody's looking at like, okay, this is your race, but actually it's just one. And there is so much more that needs to come after the TGE. So it's just like one moment where people actually put their attention towards. That's the TGE moment. And we were really thinking, how do we, how do you play the timing? Because timing is everything. And Gamey was really early with Telegram, early on the market. We saw the opportunity and the attention to tap to earn. We did a mining game, then we changed that into a game. And then we really wanted to go with TGE early, even though maybe not everything was ready. So you would like to think you have all of the product flushed out, but sometimes it's better to just step out and go to the market. So we were thinking, how do we approach it to have something early, but also have a continuity? So the TGE is not like the final race, end of career, but rather, okay, this is a milestone, but from there we continue. So we decided to give people a choice. So we offered them to decide, do you want to claim now or do you want to claim later, which we named Become Part of a Moon Club. And of course, there's a lot of play in the UI, in the product. There's gamification behind it. If you delay your claim, you get more. But it's not only the number, how much more. There is some mystery box. There are some surprises on the way. And then be part of the Moon Club. And to our surprise, it was a short window we gave people to decide. But there was 88% of people went for the Moon Club, which
really?
We were looking at it was like, okay, so 88% are saying claim later.
Did that shock you?
Just say no, like this is how our community is. No, yeah, it's a lot higher number than we thought, because you would naturally think this is like short attention span. People are looking to get in and out and then move on to another game. So you would expect that, right? But also maybe because of the nature of the audience, we had audience before Tap to Earn. And these people are gamers. And even we're now close to 100 million players in total. But many of them don't even have a Ton wallet. And so oftentimes, even within the claim process, they were like, not even trying to claim, not even connecting wallets. So out of the 100 million players we have, maybe we had 7 million ton wallets ready, and then you have some eligibility for the claim, so how many points people collected, etc. And then like 88% decided to claim later, and we were like, wow, it's really a lot. So it was also, to your point, to the preparation for the day and for the tech to work, we were a little bit worried because we have seen like a really huge load. What can it do? But there was such a great preparation from Ton core team and from the partner that is helping on the distribution. They prepared 16 different smart contracts, and we were just guiding people through the flow. So we did not have people who would click on the same second, claim now everything, I want to run. So the behavior was a little bit different, and it's really nice. It's really nice to see that.
Yeah,
it's a little bit contrary to to what you would expect. Like big airdrop, people would grab it and run and go, like, say, claim now everything, but it did not happen.
Absolutely, yeah. That seems to be what most people are looking at, especially at Ton externally, and saying, well, it's all airdrop hunters, and all of these new people are just going to dump your token, and it's 99.9% down from listing moment, right? Like that's what everyone's kind of saying, so cynically around Ton at the moment. But it's very interesting about 7 million. So 7 million eligible wallets were connected out of
so 7 million wallets on. So 7 million wallets on Ton. We had a lot of wallets also, for example, that were collecting points, Ethereum wallets, right? So we were also engaging a lot of people from Ethereum, from Polygon ecosystem, but not everybody was able to connect their EVM wallet to Ton on time. So there's like, we're not only onboarding, like newbies to crypto to Ton, but also Ethereum people over to Ton chain. So there have been some hiccups on the way, but there is a second part of the claim. So I hope everybody will be able to make that. And it's oftentimes for people, is this something super new? Like, we were getting so many questions. Isn't like, can I use the Telegram wallet, this wallet or that wallet? So it's like, it sounds easy for everybody who's claiming airdrop for the 10th time, but for people who are doing it for the first time, it was quite a moment. And we understood, okay, this is actually the day when, like, we're opening a claim for millions of people who are getting something in their wallet for the first time. Yeah. And that's quite special. I like, the number is so big, it's really abstract. It's hard to imagine. I remember our community manager when we introduced WATBird as a character, and we wanted to make something that could be a brand that has a personality, that's relatable, something like that would connect people, even if you're a degen or not, so with humor. And it really quickly started getting following. Our community manager was like, I'm quite stressed. I'm sending memes to 4 million people. Like, you're sending a piece of content to a number of 4 million brains, globally. Yeah. And you're looking at their 100
million users is bigger than the UK.
Yeah, right. It's like, when you get into big numbers, it's becoming abstract. It's hard to imagine.
Yeah. So 7 million users, connected wallets, and then there's 88% of those people actually chose to join the Moon Club, and they're going to claim they'll get the coins later.
The eligible wallets that hit the minimum threshold. So there is always a lot of, like, there are a lot of options how you can approach airdrop design. And you saw different in Catizen, you're seeing different in Rabbit or Hamster, even in our case. So because the challenge also is, no matter how big of an FDV or expected FDV you have, if you cut that in millions and millions of wallets, well, the value possibly can be very low, right? Especially if you're not listing on Binance, for example. So you have to set some minimum, for example, eligibility. So if somebody has a really tiny amount of points, well, then you need to announce the cutoff. So we had to announce the cutoff that was, I believe, 1,000 watt points. Doesn't really matter. So, like, people knew that was public, transparent. So there was approximately, I think, close to 3 million wallets that actually hit threshold. And then out of those, 88 said, I'm fine later.
Right. Okay. And so how many holders have you guys got now on chain?
It's still ongoing. It's still there. People are still claiming, but I think it's something like 200,000 on chain users right now.
Interesting. Yeah, I saw some post earlier today. It was saying, like, all the best meme coins and the holders, like the top Even Pepe Coin is like only about 280,000 holders themselves, right?
Now we say
So,
only, right? Now we say only.
well,
That's actually
Yeah,
only.
they're wild numbers, specifically if you begin to look at kind of the similar ecosystem type plays. So you look at either top viral meme coins or tokens that have kind of that viral narrative. You won't see them go over 40, 50,000, right? Users before they hit a 9-figure market cap in TVL. So I think it's also important to understand, Jack, we talk about this funnel between initial point of interaction with an audience and then when they become a user or when they become somebody that interacts with your product. And we can see it as a clear example here, right? Like we're talking about tens of millions of users at the top of the funnel to hundreds of thousands of converted users at the bottom of the funnel, which shows as a builder the amount of eyeballs that somebody actually needs in order to convert a high amount of users. We've talked about it, and Jack, we can go back and forth on naming endless amounts of projects that have tens of millions of dollars but can't acquire users, right? Because their top of the funnel doesn't even allow for hundreds of thousands of people to come in because they're either web-based, they have some sort of weird Chrome extension that they have to plug in order to interact with the network or the application or the dApp, whatever it may be. So I think even the numbers that we're tossing around right now are quite large, especially once we start talking about the fact that there are organic campaigns that are pushing it. And yes, we definitely have these viral mechanics and these engineered campaigns attached to it, but the numbers are still absolutely wild. So I think for any project builder that is an understanding of conversion rates, they need to be able to see the top of the funnel and understand that they need to also find a top of the funnel that allows them to bring on as many users as possible. Because we understand that there is no such thing as 100% conversion rate. In fact, if you talk about like a conversion rate for a sale, you're talking about what maybe 1, maybe 2% conversion rate on a sale. So now add the difficulty of downloading a wallet, add the difficulty of actually running a claim. You're probably talking about less at a good stance, right? We're talking marketing, like if you're a good marketer, we're talking less than 1% conversion rate. So if you have tens of millions of users at the top versus hundreds of thousands converting at the bottom, it seems to be extremely, extremely healthy. Not only that, but also somebody that understands the key of distribution marketing and the key of kind of going viral is you need to be super agnostic as to the quality of your traffic at the top of the funnel. You just want as many people aware that you exist, right? You don't care if these people have never connected a wallet. You don't care if these people have never bought a Dogecoin, a Bitcoin, they don't care, right? It doesn't matter. The purpose right now is to put crypto into a billion pockets, right? And you have to do it through the path of least resistance. And to hear that there's projects just even interacting, right, with normies that have never even been on chain, I think it's something extremely important because slowly but surely, as the tech becomes better, as it becomes more user friendly and as it becomes more seamless, these people automatically be integrated into the blockchain or into some sort of claim or into some sort of wallet without even knowing it. So I think now the process is reducing the friction, right, between the onboard, which obviously has to do with the network and has to do with the apps that we build. But I think it's looking quite good. I like the numbers. The numbers are quite healthy.
Yeah, and it's also like it's a network effect, right? So the more projects that launch, and then the more projects that then partner with those guys that have all of the traffic, right? The faster this will grow because those users will then go from tap to earn app into really useful utility app, right? Like the utility apps that are launching and Ton can plug into all this traffic that the tap to earn apps are providing, right? Gamey, you guys have partnered with a number of projects, haven't you, throughout the gaming period or throughout the tap to earn period, where they would get what points for doing certain actions with other projects apart from you guys. Like I remember you did one with Notcoin, is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's very important. And I think this is what I kind of said earlier is that like for us the TG is really just one of the milestones. So the 200,000 I think that's pretty awesome for still for for a company that is onboarding people from Web2. We cannot really tell like how much of these people, like how many of them actually knew something before. But we certainly know that we're receiving many times like, how can I do it? Do you guys have a tutorial? And we also see that many people earned points and they just did not even claim anything, maybe because they didn't have even time to for gas fee, right? So the tech you mentioned, the gasless claiming, like things like that will definitely improve that. And the partnerships, yeah, this is like this is why we do it, like because we have now interoperable assets, right? We can swap one for another, we can swap audiences, people can come from one mini app to another. The invitation can be ownership based, so whatever you own, based on that you get something in another project. That's awesome. That's why we love Web3, because it makes the flow of value really easy, and it's very creative. So for us, for us really like looking into what comes the post DGE, it's like offering the second claim is like a second wave of onboarding, of course. But also, how do we create the value flywheel? What is like what can we create around the ownership? So what for everybody who owns the Watt coin, we're opening the Moon Club, which is like tons of benefits, a lot of gamification, but also rewards from partners. And these users are for us like they're creating attention with their like they're being entertained, but they have attention, and with this attention, of course, the monetization strategy in gaming, if you have a lot of attention, you can monetize with advertising. So you're looking at partners, at sponsors. So we're doing different campaigns where we offer this audience to our partners, and then these partners actually can access the audience also in a tokenized way, because now they use our gaming token to pay for these campaigns, which now the Alpha AS gaming token now is on Tom Chain as well, because we bridged it. So the flywheel is what owners get rewards from partners, because partners want to invite them somewhere. And holders of gaming token actually get demand for the token, because that represents attention that what has created. So
I see.
it's kind of long when I describe it this way, but it's based
see.
on ownership of assets. One is user attention, one is actually access to the attention. And this way you can build a sustainable business model. The more audience you have, the more they like your game, the better you can monetize, the more value you bring to Moon Club users and then to gaming holders.
Brilliant. I see it. So it's more, so your model is more similar to Notcoin's model, in that
In a way, except that we create the games.
Yes, right. So actually, it can work even better than Notcoin, because you have so much more content and so many more different games that people are using on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously you've got 100 million users in gaming entirely. So you've got a much bigger audience, as it were, than inside of Notcoin. Okay. So simply what happens is partner wants to access your traffic, all of the gamers that are playing gamey games. So partner comes to you, and is this process permissionless? They can just buy
Yeah.
what coins, and
Yeah,
then
now
just start a campaign right away.
it's not permissionless. That's the idea, to have it. Now it's manual. So it's a bit centralized, but it's how you build products, right? Product market fit.
We don't like that word.
You put it together manually. You cannot hear?
No, I said we don't like that word. Centralized.
Oh, centralized. I thought you were speaking about product market fit.
No. No,
okay.
So the goal is for it to become decentralized and permissionless over time.
First you make sure it works. There is demand, the product works, and then you decentralize. You make that permissionless so people can, serve themselves. Yeah.
Got it. So partner comes, buys what coins, sets up a campaign through you guys at the moment, but at some point it will be permissionless, and they can set up a campaign inside of there and send traffic from gamey games into their applications. Is it going to be strictly for Telegram applications, or will there be external linking involved as well?
So this is it will start on Telegram because we have over 50 games live on Telegram. There are a lot more coming around WATBird and its IP. So it will start on Telegram. So the partner actually accesses the audience with the GME token, which is on Ethereum, but now bridged also to Ton. And then part of the value goes to WAT holders in forms of rewards in the games, and part of to holders of the GME token because there is a demand for it.
I see. I see.
So you need hold what to be able to participate in all of this, of course, as a user, as a gamer. But as a partner to run campaign, you need a company token.
I see. And so how will the user get the rewards? You said playing the games. Is there specific games that they'd have to play? Is there or is it just any of the games that are on Gamey that you can play and you'd earn the rewards if you're one of those holders?
So that will be different game by game. The everybody who decided claim later, they're getting their claim no matter what game they play. Okay, so we're speaking about games that are on top for the Moonclaw people. So there is a specific new game I will not speak about because the secret that's coming, and there will be a prize pool in that game specifically, but it will be coming to more and more games as we launch more WATBird games for the bird. So this is the most coming thing that you will see this year.
Okay. Very, very cool. So just changing tact just a little bit because we're halfway through. We need to announce something. We are doing the giveaway in a different way this week. So we're not actually going to do $1,000 giveaway by giving away the seed phrase of a wallet. The reason being is that seems like someone's figured out a way already how to game that, and they're getting access to the wallet even before we announce the last single word. So someone's already somehow guessing the last single word. So we're going to change the way we do it, and this time we're actually going to release a Soulbound token. So a Soulbound token is a collectible, an NFT that sits in your wallet. And it's going to be a special gamey Soulbound token for this episode. And if you go to the Ton Society Twitter now, there will be a link to actually open the Ton Society bot where you'll be able to find the link to claim the SBT. So we're not going to give away the password to claim yet. We'll give it away at the end of the stream and we'll display it on the screen so you can grab it. But this will be the new way that we start to figure out how we're going to give this $1,000 giveaway away on the stream. So super simple. Just go to Ton Society Twitter right now, and you should see under the stream the link to the Ton Society bot, where you'll be able to go in and wait until you hear the password. And once you've got the password, you can claim the collectible. So with that said, Luke, what's your thoughts on how the play to earn model and tap to earn model is evolving? How do you think that projects like memes and other types of projects that maybe, there's kind of this battle between a meme that has no utility, nothing but a community, and tap to earn, which I don't really see the difference. Like, do you see there's a difference there in how tap to earn is like actually different because it has some kind of utility than a meme, or is every tap to earn project a meme as well? What's your thoughts?
So I love when Jack asks me these questions because he leaves me no choice but to be just super honest. So most tap I love it because this is my nature. So most tap to earn games are shit. Right, they're going to zero. But then that's most memes, right? So they're right off the bat. Let's just get it out of the way, right? 99% of the things that you see on every ecosystem, every chain are going to zero. Your job, right, is to find the best chain with the lowest risk, highest upside. That's the first thing you got to do. So if you're out here on Cardano, right, and you're out here thinking that this is your bull run, Sadly mistaken. So before we even get into talking about which kind of memes or which kind of tap to earn, we have to talk about at a protocol level. So you have to pick the right protocol, right? So we can be talking about this entire thing, but if you pick the wrong chain, you're screwed right off the bat. So fundamentally, we've picked the right chain for the bull run. Okay, we're on Ton, right? We've picked fundamentally one of the winning chains. So right off the bat, we've got that taken care of. We got that squared away. The next thing that we need to take into account is understanding that what's valuable is IP and brand, right? So that's what matters. Whether it's 2020, 21 bull run, Elon Musk carries the Dogecoin IP to 69 cents, right? Whether it's Flappy Birds coming back into existence with what is technically $100 million IP and saying, hey, we are considering the potentiality of launching a tap to earn game, or at least a tap game on top of Ton. That to me is huge. Why? Because right now there's two verticals. You take winning IP and you memify it, or you take memeified content that has valuable IP and you tokenize it. So you can run two verticals. They're different, right? If you look at the instance of Pudgy Penguins, is something's already tokenized. Now work on creating value around the IP so that the tokenization value goes up. That's cool. But if you're pre-TG or you don't have a TG, your focus is to focus on the IP, which is why you need distribution. If you look at something like PayPay, why it worked, well, it's because it's been on 4chan for the last decade. So it has what, billions of dollars worth of free distribution and eyeballs that have already come into existence. So if I'm a trader, if I'm an investor, if I'm somebody that's actually looking at the market, I want to look at two factors. One is this winning IP in and of itself outside of crypto? If the answer is yes, asymmetrically, crypto rewards everything tenfold. So if you have Naruto, right, roll around, or you have Hello Kitty token roll around, automatically you're going to see this go into the 9 figures market cap TVL because it's worth that in the real world. So simply because it's worth billions of dollars, Hello Kitty's worth billions of dollars, if they ever did anything inside of the market, whether it's touch to earn, meme, whatever it is, it would automatically skyrocket. So what are we looking at? Where's the value proposition? The value proposition is in the IP and in the brand. So if you're a founder, if you're a team member, if you're somebody that's focused pre-TG or post-TG, your job is merely to raise the value of the IP versus the price that people are going to pay. So pre-TG, what people are going to pay for token and speculation, or post-TG, once the token's already available in market, is it worth less, right, than the value that it conveys or that the IP is conveying? So if you're a founder, if you're a team member, your job is to get eyeballs. If you're an investor, if you're a trader, your goal is to bet on the winning IP, knowing very well that the IP is what's going to carry the long-term value. That's why you see the team here talking about, hey, we're thinking about launching IPs, because they're realizing quickly that IPs are what people are going to find valuable, because IP is what's going to automatically carry the narrative. And we understand clearly that price always precedes narrative. So you can have something that's really high valuable in IP, but if there is no price attached to it, it won't work well. That's why the challenge for the teams right now is they need to manage a chart. They need to be able to manage supply. They need to be able to really understand how not to have the dumpers, right, on red alert, because there are going to be many. And they do so, they keep people at bay by managing the value of the IP. So I don't think that there's one or the other. I don't think it's more so like which one is or isn't valuable. I think it's really understanding what is it that the end user actually cares about, and what is it that's driving a chart to go up as opposed to go down. And all it has to do with supply and demand. And the way that you convert supply and demand towards yourself and increase your advantage is by eyeballs. Now, and we said it once again, not everybody in the world has the ability to build an internal distribution team attached to their token, right? Not everybody has the resources of Ton. Not everybody has the resources. That does simply not exist. And if you're an upcoming project, so your goal is to build upon an ecosystem that does have distribution mechanisms that are going to allow you to increase your user base by an extremely cheap cost. And brand is built by two things: trust and the scope of the amount of people that get to see you, right? So if you have only 1,000 people that trust your brand, well, you're not going to really be able to create a strong brand because there's only a limited amount of users. But if you have access to a 1 billion user pool and people trust you whether it's your IP, whether it's your product, whether it's your brand, then that is ultimately what you're after. The reason people hold on to certain tokens and you don't see the floor price absolutely get decimated within weeks is based off of trust. That's it. That's people trusting that this is a better play than another tap to earn token that is going to be rolling out very soon. Because as a project owner, you're not just competing against, hey, do I prefer somebody holding my token versus holding, I don't know, Solana or Bitcoin or whatever it is. It's also that there's other projects in the pipeline. We've seen many, Jack, we've seen over the last couple of months, several projects roll around. Now we have Hamster rolling out. Now we have Cadison rolling out. These are real competitors, right? These are real competitors in the space. So this concept of, hey, there's a billion people inside of the ecosystem. Okay, well, automatically half of them say they're older people, they might never tap it, or they're too young, they might never be able to get into crypto, right? Let's say we have sub 18-year-olds and plus 60-year-olds that may not necessarily be the first ton users. Okay, so let's rule out half of that audience. Off of the remaining audience, you are competing for attention. So you need to be able to present a better IP, better gamification, better viral features, better incentives in order to keep users on board, because you're fighting, and we're talking about projects that are trying to build on Ton, because I know we also have builders here. You're also trying to build, but you're also competing for that attention. So now we have teams not only thinking about getting to TG, like we heard, right? Hey, this is the first milestone, but how do we keep people engaged? How do we keep people involved? How do we create a flying wheel of value? And it starts with brand, it starts with IP, but then it ends with attention. You need to be able to keep people long term. I think brand does this extremely well, but obviously one of the stronger brand values is that there's always something next. What this means is if you look at the best performing projects in crypto, they always have something in the roadmap. They always have something in the pipeline. They never have, okay, we've achieved what we're supposed to achieve. The moment you achieve your end goal in crypto, you die. That's pretty much what I've always noticed. If your end goal was TG, you die. If your end goal was season 1, you die. If your end goal was to achieve a certain market cap, you die. So you need to be able to create that flywheel of value. Understand that, yes, there's ebbs and flows of what's important right now. Today it might be tap to earn. In the future, it might be swipe turn. In the future, it might be shake turn. Who knows, right? It's going to be anything to earn is going to be a potential. It's about brand recognition, brand value, and 2, being able to increase the amount of perception and touches that you have in the front end, which we call distribution. So create viral IP. You can test it very simple. You can go on social media on X before you actually go out and create an entire token and ecosystem. Get sentiment, get an understanding of what people are thinking about it. See if there is product market fit. We talk about product market fit being a centralized kind of idea. I agree fully, right? You need to have that centralized factor, that echo chamber of back and forth before you send it out to the open masses, where you're going to get 10 million different opinions from 10 million different people, and it won't serve you any good. So you need that proof of concept. But once you get that proof of concept, the market will very quickly tell you whether or not your IP is valuable long term. And yes, you can try to force it, but at the end of the day, the market does have its magic. The market knows what it likes and knows what it wants. But there is no better place to do it where there's somebody like you call, right? There's this oasis of users as opposed to being on another chain. In the game, in this, and wrapping up your concept, this idea of gaming that you're talking about, the only reason that I even contemplate it so deeply is, first of all, based off of bad past experience, but also based off of good future experience. I was around last bull run, right? I was around the $100 million plus sandbox raise when they had 10 users on their platform. I was around with the decentralized mana token, at a $1 billion market cap with 10 live users on their like live office spaces. So I know what having a real product at a multi-billion-dollar valuation in crypto with no users actually looks like. Today, I think for the first time ever, people are realizing that the game is supposed to be a means for community building, and it's not the end all be all. That's why you have simple games like Candy Crush and simple games like Fruit Ninja that are very basic tasks that have acquired billions of users or hundreds of millions of users, is because they understand brand virality, they understand reward mechanisms, they understand viral loops, and obviously they're going to market in a place where there's a lot of users, in this case, the App Store, but in our case, it's going to be the Ton ecosystem. So I think everything all said and done, the game is only going to be as valuable as the user base that it has. and the token is only going to be as valuable as the IP and its distribution mechanisms. So it doesn't really matter if you're selling a little poop emoji, right? That's tokenized. If there's a billion people that fuck with it and like it, it'll be worth a lot more than you think. And if you have, this incredible AI craze that people are talking about, but it's vaporware and there's no user base, then the brand won't serve any better. So I think it's a combination of everything put together, Jack. But I think it's the first time that we can actually see some sort of real implementation of gamification in real games, that it can actually be used and not have some fake inflated VC valuation attached to it.
Yeah, and I want to temper everything you said there to the gamey example, because it's a perfect example. What you've got now is valuable IP that you've created, Bazina. You've created the WATBird, which, as you said, was a community that grew out of nowhere, out around this kind of IP of the WATBird kind of style and the tone of voice and everything that goes along with that. That's the IP. That's the value. But then you've built that community around that, and then you've driven a new token incentive model into that process, right? Where you're now going to use that IP to monetize people's interest and excitement of that IP, right? So now you have something that's not just there to bring users in. It's there to actually reward users, people that believed in it, and people that still believe in it, and people that are believing in it. But new people coming in can still join the whole fun, get involved and get involved in the token model, and do well out of it, right? So now you have IP, you have a powerful brand that you guys have built, and you've got a token model that's long term and self-sustaining, in that you're selling off that traffic to partners that want to buy the token in order to get that traffic. Is there any other comments or ways that you think you could apply what Luke was saying there to gaming?
No, I think that's a really nice description, and thanks for the summary. I think the brand was a long-term underestimated thing, how the value of the brand, because it's essentially, even if you change products, if you shift, like if the product market fits go under pivoting, it's the brand and the IP that actually stays, right? It's even like Ogilvy said that it's like the brand that stays with you when the factory burns, or something like that. And there was a time where Tap to Earn was like a campaign that helped to build several brands that did not exist before. So even Notcoin is a big brand, Hamster now is a brand, Catizen, same as WATBird, right? And it was a concentrated, like, good timing, fitting into a trend, a big wave where new IPs and new brands were created. So it's the attention that sparked out of it inspired, of course, many more companies to go into Tap to Earn. But if they're a little bit late to that wave, they will not be able to capitalize on the same thing, because the trends and the waves are shifting. So there will be another thing that will capture attention, but the kind of the cookbook stays the same, is having a brand, having an IP, either like outside of Web2 or a new one, a story that's relatable. And what is, like, the story is really cool. And I oftentimes hear in Web3, the token is the product, but I'm more of a product person. I need a product with the product. So I'm always thinking, okay, there is a brand, there is an attention campaign, which the attention is a currency. It's like your marketing budget. And how do you want to spend the marketing budget to drive your product, to figure out monetization? Because if you want to continuously reward users, you kind of need to make money. So the project needs to make money to be able to reward all the stakeholders. And the attention, like the Tap to Earn, is really an attention campaign that gives you marketing budget to make that happen. But like, there will be a different one. It will not be Tap to Earn forever, right? Maybe even now as we speak, Tap to Earn is not the campaign. Maybe it's a different one. But like, the cookbook kind of stays the same. But for me, it's a brand, it's a campaign, it's the TG is one of the milestones. But then actually coming into a product market fit, having a business model, be able to have a continuous loop of rewards and value flow is important.
Yeah, if I can give one piece of advice to the community watching this, Tap to Earn is just a launch strategy. What's much more important is what Bazina and Gamey are doing, creating a sustainable model for what they're dropping you. The token is getting dropped to you after the tap to earn phase, right? What is the model for that token? How is it going to be valuable? That's what you should be demanding with your attention. Go to the places which are communicating the long-term value of what they're going to be giving you. And demand that, right? Only play those games. Only play the ones where the token model is going to be clear, because then you know you're not going to be wasting your time, right? And there's been a lot of pushback from the Tong community about time wasting and like miscommunication from projects, and the fact that some of this stuff has not been clear, right? I often talk about the model of Bloom, because Bloom is like a perfect example of a project that has a tap to earn feature, but they have communicated right from the very start, this is going to be a DEX. And now Bloom is actually like, I think, second largest Telegram channel in Telegram right now. They're like 56, 60 million people in Telegram at the moment. So they at launch, when they have a DEX ready, will be one of the largest DEXs on the planet, right? I think I checked today the figures. Uniswap has about 14 million monthly active users, right? So we're talking to the level of like 6 times Uniswap's monthly active users going into Bloom. And now we know what the token's going to be for. It's going to be a DEX token, right? So we know that there's going to be value there. So those are the projects you need to look for, not just going and playing any games that you like. Play the games that you think are fun, obviously. If they're fun, that's great. Gamey has got a ton of really fun games, which I've played a lot of. But if you're looking at like which projects are going to be the valuable ones and which ones you want to spend some time, invest some time in participating in, the most important part is you're looking at what the potential model is after. So for Gamey and for Notcoin, the model is monetization of usage, right? That's a very clear model. It's the model which, when you look at like top 10 companies on the planet right now, you've got Facebook, monetization of usage, Google, monetization of usage, Amazon to a certain extent, Apple to a certain extent, right? All of these, that is a very, very monetizable and successful proven model to actually bring rewards, bring shareholder rewards, right? So in a Web3 sense, this is exactly similar to kind of what Gamey and Notcoin are doing, monetizing the usage into value for the community, in terms of rewards and in terms of token demand. So
I agree.
Yeah.
Jack, let me add my closing remarks specifically to attach to your point here. I think 2 verticals. One, because I spend a lot of time as well on the people that do a lot of token farming and a lot of people that do like hunting for like token hunting or airdrop hunting, and this is a real space. Like this is a real thing. So let's quickly address these hunters, right? Guys, if you're hunting for tokens, which is totally fine, go for it. You need to do exactly what Jack did, because you have all these different projects that are coming up with a lot of promises for attention, but they have no end goal in mind or no date. If there's no end goal in mind and no date, you have to go to a place where you're increasing your reward versus your risk. 2 is you need to understand where you are in the process of joining. So for example, if you're joining a tap to earn, I'm not saying not to, but obviously we're trying to be intelligent here. When there's 60 million people and they're 2 weeks away from launch, you're not going to get the same upside than if you've been around for 4.5 months, right? So you also need to understand where it is that you jump in. So understand where the project is on their timeline, but also the clarity that the project has. This is super key. And if they're not willing to give it to you in the crypto space, because you're asking for it, then at least you know, right? So you at least get that taken care of. But this idea of just like trusting a project of anonymous people for 5 months, it's not the best choice, right? So that's the first front, to have that taken care of. The second one is understand, like I said before, you will need to be earlier than later on the size of virality. If you were part of Notcoin in the early inception stages when Jack was shilling it to me, versus at the end when it was blowing up, it would have been a different game, right? You would have been in a different scenario. So you also need to be playing that into account. And then what I would say is the third kind of secret ingredient, which very few people kind of discuss or talk about, is really understanding the tokenomics, right? And understanding if the team really understands and has done their due diligence with the tokenomics. If you want to participate, right? If you want to make $5 off of an airdrop after 3 months of work, that's fine if that's what matters to you, or you find higher leverage opportunities inside the ecosystem. Maybe there's less than, you know, 100 million users, but maybe you get to come in and front run it first, right? So you also need to be playing that vertical in that time. I think it's really, really important. So my wrapping thoughts for this TVL, Jack, is I think that there's a lot of projects that are emerging. I would say pay attention to that on the buyer side. On the builder side, like you said, this idea of tap to earn. I don't even want to call it tap to earn. I want to say tap marketing. Like I think we should
I want
really
to
be
say viral mechanics, right? And
yeah, like I don't even
viral
want to say
mechanics with
earn. I don't want to
incentives.
even use the
Like
word.
that's it.
I don't want to even yeah, I don't even want to use the word to earn. I think it's a complete misjudgment of what this tapping thing is. I think tapping gives a real physical action to what you're supposed to do in order to be participating in the community. But there shouldn't be an earn verbiage attached to the tap because you might not earn anything, right? Like that's the honest truth. Like you're in crypto. But I would say that as a product kind of owner, if you're looking at tap mechanics, they're highly lucrative and highly valuable when it comes to attention. Still, now,
Yeah.
is it the same that it was 5 months ago, 6 months ago? We all know that the ripple effect, the power of the ripple effect, kind of slows down as it kind of expands throughout time. So we know this to be logically deflating over time, but you can still capitalize on it. You can still utilize it. And remember, it's an end all be all. If you utilize it as a mechanism, like Mozino said, to acquire marketing budget, to acquire users, and you have a process attached to it full long term, I think it's really good. So from the buyer side, from the user side, be paying attention, focus on people that understand long term tokenomics that have kind of your and because we need to talk about the idea that there are going to be bad actors leveraging this, right? We've already seen this in the space. Bad actors that leverage massive user counts to either raise money or have some sort of, we've seen all sorts of things already take place. So be very careful of the projects that you're giving your time and your attention to. If you're building, understand that viral mechanics are super key, but it's the beginning, not the end all be all. You need to have something sustaining it long term, and distribution is key. We've always talked about this, but now attaching with viral IP or with IP that can carry its weight is going to be key. So those are my thoughts, Jack. I look forward to now checking out the NFT Soulbound token.
Yeah, so let's bring up the password on the screen, and I'm just gonna close us down on something you said there, Luke, because I think the way the area of innovation is now for projects. We saw it when after Notcoin we had a load of different tap to earns, but I don't want to I also don't want to use that word, but we had a load of use to earn kind of innovations where instead of tapping it was swiping, instead of just tapping we had Hamster that innovated on the profit per hour, so you needed to buy cards that gave you more profit per hour, and it was like an innovative thing. So here's the password, what0923. So if you go to Ton Society Twitter, go to the comment where you see Ton Society bot, open that bot up, you'll find the password, the place to put the password, and every single user can mint one of these. This is not exclusive, right? So everyone can go and mint one of these SBTs to prove that you've been here, and proving that you've been here may be something useful for you in the future. I'm just going to say that. So we had Hamster that innovated on like profit per hour, which meant that, okay, they're retaining the usage, right? So that was an innovative thing in how to retain more usage. And now I think that whole like different ways of tap to earn, maybe there's some more innovation there, but it's almost already done. right? The way of doing the tap to earn is innovated entirely. So now I think where projects builders can move to is, instead of innovating there on the actual functionality of the app, innovate on the communication, be clearer in the token model than what's going to happen in the future, and make the community aware of how useful the token could be. And in that case, now you're going to put yourself ahead of any new tap to earn that might be out there now in the launch period, because no one is really communicating properly, as far as I can see. Not many are communicating properly on what the use is going to be moving forward. So that's just my 2 cents. If you're a builder out there, innovate on the comms, innovate on being clear and transparent with what's happening, with what the use case will be for the token moving forward. If it's going to be a traffic monetization like Gamey or Notcoin, say that. Say how it will work, innovate there at that level, instead of trying to innovate on just a different kind of tapping mechanic. Okay, Bezina, great to have you here. Any closing thoughts before we wrap up?
You had really good closing thoughts. To add,
Okay.
maybe, I think for builders, maybe those come naturally, but I think this is also super important. So like, okay, we spoke about brand storytelling, explanation, what you do, innovate on, possibly on like how you monetize on your future plans, share that, but also become a superpower user of the product and be really first to market with any new feature. I think that matters tremendously. I'll give you some specific examples. If, for example, if Telegram launches, I don't know, Soulbound tokens, right? Or if there are stars, just go with the feature and be the first one to use it. Lead the example, like how that can be used. People love that. It puts the company in the bucket of innovator, really getting that platform, but it builds the experience, the expertise of the team itself to really be the best at the platform, because the distribution is about the story, but it's also a lot about algorithms, it's about math, it's about figuring out how the platform where you sit on works and get the best out of it. So there's like new features, follow, use, figure out, immediately
Innovate.
be the first one to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would fully agree on that. You got to be on the cusp of innovation. Absolutely.
Yeah. Look at what the market's doing. Don't copy it. Find the places where you can innovate, and innovating in communication is going to be a good place over the next few months, I believe, to innovate and to get a lot more users, because now we have so many users already in that top of funnel. They're already waiting and looking for something new. So lots of opportunities still to be had. Guys, what a great TVL. Thank you so much for coming on, Bezina, and talking about WATBird. We're so excited to have Watt token on Ton. And Luke, great to see you again, mate. Have a great rest of day community, and speak to you all soon.
Thank you. Talk soon, guys.
Thanks.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.